Hello friends, I am Dr. S.P. Mathur, Marwadi College, Department of English. Today I am going to take classes of BA Part 2, Semester 4. The poem is A Bard's Epitaph by Robert Burns, paper CC 9. So we begin with the poem now. A Bard's Epitaph. It is written by Robert Burns, who is one of the greatest precursor of the Romantic movement. He was born in Ayrshire, West Scotland in 1759. He was also known as Rabbi Burns, the national bard, the plowman, the poet. He was a Scottish poet and lyricist. He wrote poems in Scots language. He also wrote poems in Standard English. The volume of works by Burns, which came to be known as poem, chiefly in Scottish dialect, came out in 1786. Also called the Kilmarnock volume, it contains more than 200 songs and a great number of short epistles, epigrams, elegies, and other type of miscellaneous verse. His themes included republicanism as he lived during the French Revolutionary period and radicalism which he expressed in Scots Wahey. Scots patriotism, class inequalities, gender roles, Scottish cultural identity, and poverty, sexuality, anti-clericalism. Burns' style is marked by spontaneity, directness, and simplicity. He died at an early age of 37 in 1796, and even after his death, he maintained a great source of inspiration to the founder of both liberalism and socialism and a cultural icon in Scotland and among the Scottish diaspora around the world. So now we are coming to the first paragraph. Is there a whim inspired fool, or a fast for thought, or a hot for rule, or a blade to seek, or a proud to snule? Let him draw near, and Ori, this grassy heap, sing dole, and drape a tear. So, in the first paragraph, Burns asks any any whimsical, inspired fool who is so fast to speak before he thinks and too hot headedness. He says that whoever passes by the grave should pause, he should pause and shed a tear on his behalf. Burns imagines himself buried in the grave and invites passers-by to weep for him. He asks, is there any man who acts on the inspiration of caprice, or who acts before he thinks, or too hot-headed to be ruled, or who is too modest to seek, or too proud to creep, or be obsequious. Let him draw near, and over this grassy heap to sing sadly and drop a tear. Here the word inspire and rule hint at the political undercurrent. Now, coming to the second paragraph, is there a bard of rustic song who noteless steals the crowds among that weekly this area throng? Oh, pass not by, but with a fretter feeling strong, here he was I. So, in the second stanza, Burns really begins to characterize himself as a fallen hero of Scotland. He says, "Is there a poet or bard to? Is there a poet or bard who can create rustic songs? Who is unknown to people passing by among the crowds that usually gather weekly in this area? He tells not to pass by his grave without stopping. He appeals to the people to come with a strong brotherly feeling and lament on his grave. Now, coming to the third paragraph, the poor inhabitants, sorry, is there a man whose judgment clear can others teach the course to steer, yet runs himself life's mad career, wild as the wave, here pause and through the starting tear survey this grave. So in the second stanza, Burn really begins to characterize himself as a fallen hero of Scotland. He says, "Is there a poet uh, sorry, we are going to the third paragraph. Is there a man who judgment clear can others teach the course to steer, yet runs himself life's mad career, wild as the wave? Here pause and through the starting tear survey this grave." So this is the third paragraph where the poet says, the poet sets an example for others, like he asks them to avoid his mistakes and wildness. It may be for his fondness for whiskey and women. He asks, "Is there a man who is clear enough to teach other people how to take the right path, but for himself is unable to do so, and instead run as wild as the waves in his own path in life? If you are like that man, then pause and from incipient fear inspect this grave inspect this grave. In a way, he cautions the onlooker as well as the leader to attend and learn to steer the course of their lives with similar passionate Scottishness, Scottishness, but with more prudence. Now coming to the fourth paragraph, the poor inhabitants below was quick to learn was quick to learn, the wise to know, and keenly felt the friendly glow and softer flame, but thoughtless follies laid him low and stained his name. So in the fourth paragraph, he talks about the poor inhabitants, that a inhabitant, that is the poet himself, was very quick to know how to teach wise people knowledge. Moreover, he moreover he deeply appreciated the warmth of friendship and softer flame of love. But his own thoughtless mistakes got him into trouble and tarnished his image. Now, coming to the last paragraph, that is the fifth paragraph, here he says, Reader, attend, whether thy soul soars fancies flights beyond the pole, or darkling grubs this earthly hole in low pursuit, no prudent, cautious, self-control, age wisdom, root. So here we find that the fifth paragraph is written in standard English. Here he tells that he asks the reader to pay attention to his advice. He says, whether your souls soars your flights of imagination beyond the North Pole, or your soul digs about half concealed in this hole in the ground, looking for light or inspiration. One must know that the root of wisdom is prudent, cautious self control. The political implication of Burns' code switching are more obvious in a bard's epitaph. The rhyme scheme of the stanzas are A, 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 B, A, B. Thank you.